Okay, my little Ariel, what you're gonna do for me right now is sing for me. Sing for me. Hold on, Ursula. Hold on 1 second. Me. Okay, one more time. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Raphael and I am here to review the live action Disney movie, The Little Mermaid. When I first found out that they were making this into a movie, I was so excited for it. I was anticipating it because Ariel is my favorite Disney princess and Ursula, the sea witch, is my favorite Disney character out of all the Disney characters. I just love her look, her song, her persona, just everything about Ursula is perfect. And because of Ursula, I've always developed this fascination with octopuses and their tentacles because Ursula is an octopus, even though I just saw 2 days ago on TikTok that supposedly she's a squid, but we're still gonna say that she's an octopus. But could you imagine if we all just woke up one day with 8 extra tentacles attached to our bodies? Life could be so much easier and so much simpler that way. You could just wake up, you could brush your teeth, you could do your hair, you could do your makeup, you could get dressed, you could fix your bed, and cook breakfast all at the same time. And could you imagine driving? You could have like 8 different ways to drive. And one more thing, I also dressed up as Ursula for Halloween about 2 years ago, and I put a picture up here. When I posted the picture online, I thought, okay, maybe the director is gonna see it and maybe they're gonna want me to be in their movie as Ursula's evil brother, their cousin, their long lost relative, or long lost octopus, whatever. And, unfortunately, nothing came about it. And I wasn't in the movie, but, I don't really care. I didn't want to be in it anyway, but, maybe the sequel. But with that being said, let's talk about the movie. So I went to the movie theater, so I grabbed my popcorn, my expensive $80 popcorn, or at least that's what it felt like, because the movie theaters, they're charging these crazy amount of prices for food, for snacks, let alone the movie ticket itself. Back when I was younger, it used to be like $7.50, $12 at most. Now it's like $20 plus a fee, plus an entry fee, plus another fee, plus a fee because you have to breathe inside the movie theater, plus another fee to equal out $1,000. So I'm walking around the movie theater with my popcorn, feeling like I'm holding a Gucci bag. That's how expensive it is. We start off with King Triton, who's Ariel's father, and her 6 sisters, who all look completely different. They all come from different backgrounds. My personal favorite touch was that each one of them had their own specific colorful design, and their mermaid tail was completely different from each other. I just wish that we saw more of the sisters throughout the movie. We saw them each speak for like maybe 5 seconds separately, and then we saw them in a group shot towards the very end, and that was it. And I just feel like that was a waste because each one of their designs were so beautiful just to get like 2 seconds of camera time and that's it. I mean, maybe in the sequel or maybe they could have their own spin-off. And I'm looking at King Triton like, obviously he was sticking his Triton around some mermuzzy throughout the ocean because wow. But then we see the final mermaid, or at least the one that we came to see, Halle Bailey as Ariel. And I listened to her and her sister's music here and there, so I knew that Halle Bailey was going to bring the vocals to the movie. So I was curious to see how she was going to embody Ariel in her own specific way, and she did amazing because the second that she comes on camera with Flounder, well, first of all, we'll get to Ariel in a second, but Flounder, the sidekick, the fish, I'm looking at Flounder's design like, what the fuck happened? It literally looks like Flounder swam to Mexico to get lipo and then he swam back. He told the director, hey, I'm ready to make a movie, and here we are. And I thought he was gonna have a bigger role in this movie because he's Ariel's sidekick, but he was just kind of like the annoying fish just there in the background, not really doing much, about to get eaten by the shark. And Halle Bailey embodied Ariel perfectly. She was so adorable in every single scene. I genuinely thought that she was talking to a crab, a bird, a fish, and you as a viewer, that's what you want to feel. You want to feel that there's actually chemistry between the person who's acting and something that's not really there in front of them. And I'm pretty sure we all know how the story goes. So Ariel, she swims to the very top of the ocean. She sees this boat full of men dancing on it, which honestly, it sounds like a good time. Eric, where's my invitation? And she gets closer to it, and there's a little sailboat attached to the bigger boat. She hops on it as if she's catching an Uber. She's just sitting there observing everybody like, yeah, you see that one right there, the one right there next to the dog, Eric, I believe his name is? Yeah, that's my future husband. She's just sitting there so comfortably. Eventually, the whole boat goes down. Eric, he's the last one to make it out, but he kind of gets unconscious. He's in the water. He's drowning. Ariel, she goes to the rescue. She starts swimming down under. She grabs him. She pulls him onto the land. She's trying to wake him up, so she starts singing to him. What would I do to live where you are? What would I pay to stand right beside you? Ooh. So Eric, he loves her voice. He's listening to her. He's slowly waking up. He's conscious again. Hailey Bailey, she hopped back into the water to observe him. He's looking around like, wait a minute, was that Hailey Bailey? I need to collab with her on my next album. Where is she? Where's Chloe? So everybody comes down to rescue him. They take him back into the castle. He's looking around like, wait, no, there's somebody else here. They're like, you're delusional. Stop drinking too much. So they take him back inside. Hailey continues showing us her vocals back in the ocean by singing, up where they walk, up where they talk, up where we could stay up past midnight, or whatever the lyrics say. And the more I listen to the lyrics now as an adult, as opposed to when I was a child, the more I have a whole different perception of these lyrics, because Hailey, she's singing about wanting to be a part of this world as a mermaid. You know, she wants to live up here with the humans, but at the same time, I'm looking at her like, have you not seen the gas prices? You know, that alone right there will have me swimming back down to the ocean like, you know what? Fuck Eric. I could find another man down there. I'm going back down. The rent is high. These jobs aren't paying anything. Trust me, Hailey, you're much better off down in the ocean. If anything, what you should do is swim around Florida and then poke your head out and then take a look at what they're doing down there. That will also have you swimming back down to the ocean like, wait a minute, maybe I'm better off down here. The only thing that I can pick at was the infamous scene of Ariel singing on the rock and the water hits her from behind. When it happened, it kind of just fell flat, like nothing really, like, ooh, like, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, it happened and we're just gonna move on to the next scene. But for the most part, the whole entire scene was beautiful. Then we see Sebastian. Sebastian was also another hilarious character. His design was a little bit questionable, but for the most part, I liked his character and I enjoyed the voice acting, especially later on when he was singing and he was trying to, you know, be the background singer of Eric and Ariel when they were on the boat, and he just kept popping up from the most random spots. His Under the Sea song to Ariel was also beautifully shot. Like, I love the colorfulness of the whole entire scene. Ariel just swimming around looking confused like, wait, what's going on? I don't want to be here. Moving on to the one and only, Ursula. I was very nervous on whoever they casted to play her because I wanted them to do her justice. They chose Melissa McCartney. I'm not familiar with her movies except Identity Theft. I thought that movie was good. And I must say that Melissa did so well. Just like Hailey Bailey did with Ariel, she embodied Ursula just as well with the voice, the seductiveness, the villainness, just everything about Ursula. She had it down to the perfection. The only thing is, I wish that we would have seen more of Ursula, or honestly give her her own spin-off, like her upbringing, you know, because her and King Triton, Ariel's father, they're brothers and sisters. So I want to know about that relationship and what happened between them, especially since she's an octopus and he's a merman. So, you know, how does that happen? Honestly, we need a whole reality TV show of what's going on in the ocean and who's fucking who, because something's not making sense. But she played her so well, so perfect. I love the tentacles. The tentacles were different. They had lights underneath them. It honestly looked like a nightclub underneath her. Like, oh, where you going tonight? Oh, I'm going to Club Ursula. What about you? Like, it looks fun. And again, just everything was so good. The makeup, you couldn't really see the makeup or what was wrong with it, but I saw it in pictures on Twitter. And, you know, let's just say that the makeup was makeuping, and she eventually convinces Ariel to come to her so she could try to make her into a human so she could live happily ever after with Eric on land. After Sebastian the Crab, he basically threw Ariel underneath the bus, or in this case, underneath the coral, to her dad, King Triton, after he asked her, so what's going on with Ariel? I feel like she's not all there in the head right now. And Sebastian told her that she had a crush on this man on land and that she kept popping up every now and then to see what was going on, and he wasn't too happy about that. Obviously, he's keeping her away from humans. humans. He wants her down here. And part of me wants to know what happened to the mom. I feel like I know, but I probably forgot. Like, I feel like maybe the humans, they found the mom, the mom to Ariel, and they probably killed her because they're like, oh, wait, she's like, part creature, part human. Like, what's going on? They probably killed her. So King Triton is probably looking at the whole situation like, no, I don't want you anywhere near humans because they're dangerous. Or at least that's what I'm getting at. But eventually King Triton, he sneaks up on Ariel. Ariel is looking at the little dingle hopper that the bird Scuttle had brought her, which, that's news to me that now they could swim. I'm like, what kind of species is this? But she's playing around with it. And then he sneaks up on her and he tells her, wow, I can't believe this. You have a statue of a man in here? Absolutely not. So him with his Triton, he destroys the entire room as, Hallie is trying to beg him like, no, don't do this, daddy. I love him. But he's not getting it and he destroys everything. And I get it that he was a tough character in the cartoon movie. But was it just me, or was he a little bit too tough or a little bit too hard on Ariel in the movie? Like, he was yelling at her and destroying everything. And, I get it that she's his daughter and everything. But if I was Ariel, I would have, gotten in his face like, look, I know you got that fork and all, but I know a couple of mermen that would come here and feed you to the sharks. Like, you destroyed my statue. Like, that's disrespectful, but... after that, it didn't take too much convincing because then the two eels, Ursula's two eels, which by the way, they were very, very creepy looking. Like they looked like two anacondas just swimming around. Ursula and Ariel finally meet face to face. Ursula is giving her a deal like, look, I'm gonna give you this 50% discount on this deal that I have now. If you turn into a human, you have 3 days, to kiss Eric, the love of your life. And then, you'll both be happily ever after together. But if you don't, your voice is going to belong to me. You're going to belong to me. And that's that. But now instead of Ariel signing away her life to Ursula, now they have a whole different thing where she takes a little scale from her tail and then she throws it in the little potion or whatever. It's kind of like a blood oath. And I'm like, so now we're doing voodoo in the Little Mermaid movie? Like, that's what we're doing now? But okay, I'm with it. But eventually she does turn her into a human. Ursula, Melissa McCartney, she does her infamous Poor Unfortunate Soul song. And again, perfection. Between her and Halle Bailey and her music and her vocals, both of them were really, really, really good. And that was it. Because then we see Eric's, we'll get to him in a second, but eventually Ariel has to swim to the very top before she drowns. So as she's getting to the top, I love the one scene of Halle Bailey where she comes out and her locks splash and they hit her on the back. Such a beautiful scene. I love the way that was shot, and everybody from the castle comes outside to help her. They're very inviting. They bring her clothes, they bring her food, they give her a whole new room in this castle. And just like that, I'm like, wow, you barely even know this person and you're just letting her in the castle just like that. But okay, whatever. So she's in there, she's trying to get adjusted to her legs, she's all wobbly and everything. They put her in these high heels out of all things, and she's trying to catch her balance. She finally comes face to face with Eric, but she can't even speak to him because Ursula, part of the deal was that she has to take her voice in order for her to gain legs. So she's just looking at him like that gif of Adele at the basketball game where she's like, just looking around like, I don't know. So he's just like, okay, fine, whatever. He has some type of hope that she'll be the one that belongs to the voice who woke him up on the ocean when he was unconscious. So he walks away. On top of that, there's another twist to this whole potion that Ursula put on Ariel. And it's basically like, anytime that she tries to remember the whole 3-day rule of her having to kiss Eric, she's not going to remember anything. Like, there's no recollection of that. If somebody tries to bring that up to her, she's not going to hear it or remember anything about it. So that was an interesting twist. And I would say that Halle and the actor for Eric, they had chemistry together. Like, I could believe their scenes together and that there was romance between them through their characters, especially since Halle, she couldn't talk for, some part of the movie and he had to do all the talking. And unfortunately, he had to do some of the singing too, because then we get a little song of his that's also new to the movie. And that was the one part where I was kind of like, maybe I should go get popcorn or nachos or go to the bathroom or something. Like, what is happening? It was just so uncalled for. He's just singing around everywhere. He's jumping on the boat and everything. And I'm wondering, what are the people who are driving the boat doing while he's doing all of this? Like, he's swinging from place to place, just singing around, about love and everything. And if I was the driver of the boat, I would have been like, I'm sorry, can you please sit down? Like, what are you doing? That was the only part of the movie where I'm like, we could have, we could have cut that. I guess he wanted to show off his vocals or something, but leave that to Halle, leave that to the professionals. But regardless, their scenes were cute. I didn't know that the original Ariel, who voiced Ariel, the cartoon, she was in the movie at one point too. She came face to face with the new Ariel, and that was cool to see. I didn't know that until somebody pointed it out on TikTok. And the boat scene between Ariel and Eric, that was also cute. That was adorable. Honestly, Eric, he was much better than me because as he was trying to guess her name, she was like, oh, look at the sky and something about Aries or whatever. And she like touched his lips. I would have been guessing completely wrong. I would have been like, what, the sky? So your name is Moon. I would have been such a dumbass. So he was completely smart in that whole situation. He was just like, oh, you're Ariel. Oh, okay, Ariel. She was just like, yeah. And I'm like, wow, what are the chances of that? But Ursula, she's not having this. She feels that something's about to happen between them. So she transforms into the one and only Vanessa, which I completely forgot that she does transform into a human to try to take Eric away from Ariel because she feels that that kiss is happening soon, just like a jealous ass bitch. But she uses Halle's voice to try to get him to fall in love with her because he's thinking that, oh, this is the original person who rescued me from the ocean. And could you imagine if she started singing and then Halle's voice came out of her and she said, and this is how we do it. Do it. Oh, that would have been hilarious. But she seduces Eric. Eric, he's kind of blinded by the whole situation. He falls in love with her, but not willingly. So now they're expected to get married. Ariel, she finds out about this and she's heartbroken. So she runs out of the castle. And I'm looking at Ariel like, what are you doing? This castle is going to belong to you. Like, fight for your man. Like, I would never promote fighting over dick. But in this situation, there's an exception. There's money to be made, but Ariel, she runs out. Vanessa, aka Ursula, she's happy about this. So she's upstairs getting ready for her wedding. And it's funny because they changed the whole scene for some reason. In the movie, the cartoon, it was on a boat that they were getting married on. Here, it's on top of a castle, but I guess it's not too much of a difference. So Ariel, she's outside. Scuttle, the other character, she's flying around. And Scuttle, for the most part, Scuttle was okay. I like the song between Scuttle and Sebastian. That was a cute new song. And she's flying around. She sees Vanessa in her room thinking that it's Ariel because she's singing with her voice. And eventually she sees Vanessa in the reflection and it's Ursula. So she goes to tell, what's her name? Ariel, that's Vanessa. That's Ursula. That's not Vanessa. That's her in disguise. Ariel is like, oh no, not with my money. So she swims in the ocean and she was like, oh no, I'm going to go get my man and my money and my castle and my royalty and my everything. I believe it was Scuttle, Sebastian, and the dog who attacked Vanessa as she was about to get married to Eric, who's underneath a spell. He doesn't know what he's doing. The necklace that she had on, it falls to the floor, it breaks, and the original voice to Ariel, it goes back to her. She's looking at it like, oh no, what's going on? Ariel, she starts singing, and then Eric, he finally breaks out of his spell. He sees Ariel for who she really is. That's the person who rescued him. They hug, they embrace. Ursula, she is not happy about this. So slowly but surely, Vanessa, she starts breaking character after the sun goes down as Ariel and Eric were about to kiss. And then you hear this crunching noise like, and I'm like, ooh. We could have kept it PG. We didn't have to take it there because you hear her legs and her bones just cracking, and then the fishtail comes back out. So she falls to the floor, and instead of the cartoon version where Eric is just looking at her like, what's going on? In this version, he's actually holding her and he holds her tight, which I thought that was cute. Like, he still loves her regardless of whatever she is. His mom is looking at the whole situation like, oh, she's one of those. She's a creature from the ocean or whatever. But, whatever. So that happens. And then Vanessa, she eventually turns into Ursula. And then before that, though, Vanessa, the character playing in human form, she does this crazy laughter. And I believe it's her voice mixed with Melissa McCartney's voice. It was like a mixture of both. She does this crazy evil laugh like, and then, fog starts to, fill up the whole entire castle. And then she transforms back into Ursula. But for the 4 or 5 minutes that the human form was on screen, she did well, the one who played Vanessa. So Ursula, she's just swinging everybody out the way. She's just hitting all the guests with her giant tentacles. And she starts crawling on the floor like this, which I love that they kept that from the movie. the cartoon. So she slaps the shit out of Eric. She backslapped him like, move! And then she grabs Ariel and they swing off the mountain, not the mountain, the castle, and into the ocean they go. Then we see King Triton pop up and try to stop Ursula, but Ursula's like, no, we have a contract in blood oath and voodoo, so no, it's not possible. Your fork is not gonna work with me. And like I said, we need a reality TV show of this family. Like, we could call it Keeping Up with the Tritons. And put it on E or Peacock. But, you know, King Triton, he's like, so what do I have to do to get my daughter back? She's like, well, you know, maybe if you give me that little fork of yours, maybe then you could have her back. So he has no choice, so he gives up his fork and, you know, I believe the two eels, they attack him and they actually like kill him. I'm like, you know, what's going on here? Now this movie is rated R, like... You know, in the original, he just turns into like a little thing or whatever, like a little dust bunny or whatever. Here, he actually, you know, disappears, he dies, and that's that. I'm like, wow, you know, we're really going there. But she puts on the crown. You know, Ursula looks like a bad bitch with the crown, you know. She has her fork in hand. Ariel is not happy about this. And then we see Eric. He's swimming down in the ocean trying to protect her. And I'm looking at him like, and what are you going to do when you lose your breath? Like, what are you doing? Just go back upstairs and mind your business. Like, we got this down here for a second. But then as Ursula is about to swing her fork in his direction, I believe Ariel grabs her, and I wish there was a bigger cat fight between them, like an actual physical fight, because in the original, Ariel grabs her hair. Here, I think that she just pushes her, and the fork, it goes towards the eels, and the eels die, and they kind of just disappear into nothing. So Ursula, she gets pissed about this, and then this is where things get graphic. Warning. Because Ursula, she turns into like the big version of Ursula, which I was very curious how they were gonna do in this movie, and they did it justice. It was pretty scary. We couldn't really see much of the face expressions. Everything was pretty dark, and again, this whole movie went from PG to rated R. So eventually we see Eric and Ariel on top of her head. They jump off. They're, you know, she's striking everything with a fork. And the other thing that they twisted in the movie was that in the original, it's Eric who's driving one of the boats that comes up from underneath the ocean, and he drives the pointy part of the boat into her stomach. This time it was Ariel doing the saving. Like, so she's flopping on the boat. I'm like, Ariel, what are you doing? She's just flopping like, hold on, I'm coming, hold on, let me turn the wheel for a second, hold on, I don't have feet. And she drives the whole boat into Ursula, and Ursula, she goes bye-bye, and that was that. You know, the one issue that I had with the ending scene, the last couple of like 10, 15 minutes, is that I just feel like it happened all so quickly. Like within 30 seconds, everything was done. Like I wanted something bigger, or at least change it a little bit, or make the fight a little bit longer. But I feel like we got from Eric and Vanessa's wedding to killing off Ursula within 1 minute, and that was it. So that was the one negative side I had about that. But so after Ursula's death, King Triton comes back from the dead, and at this point, it's not even a kid-friendly movie. It's a rated R horror movie. You know, we had plastic surgery, we had people dying, we had people coming back from the dead, now they're zombies. Like, it's way too much. But King Triton, he has his fork again, and he's looking at his daughter, Ariel. Look at everybody else on land. She's still jealous because she wants to be a part of that world. And now that I see the castle and everything that comes with it, you know, I don't really blame her, but... You know, he's telling Sebastian, you know what, Sebastian? Maybe you're right. You know, maybe she should be dependent. She should be allowed to do whatever she wants in life. I'm going to let her do whatever she wants. And he points his fork at her and turns her into a human. And now she has legs again. So then we see her and Eric. They're about to go off together on a boat, but they're not married like they were in the original movie. You know, eventually we see them get married, and that's that. They have a big wedding. Here, no, they're just going to vacation to the Bahamas, and that's it. And then we see all the other mer people from the ocean. They all come up. I saw a couple of them. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I need a pair of fins. You know, but we really didn't really see too much of them. And I wish that we would have gotten to see more. We saw the sisters. They popped up again, and... You know, that was a cute scene. And then the boat, it kind of starts leaving. It starts drifting away. And then we have an awkward scene between Ariel and King Triton, because he pops up last minute and he's just looking at her and she's looking at him. And I'm like, is the movie over? Like, and he basically tells her, you know what? you could do whatever you want. You're dependent. I learned, etc., etc. And that was it. And then he grabs the boat, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's gonna change his mind or something. He gives this crazy ass push. He's like, ugh, and then off they go. Like they're like in a whole different country now. I'm like, damn, King Trey, and there's no need to be that aggressive, but I just wish that they would have showed more of the sisters and the life underneath the ocean. But, you know, besides that, Halle Bailey as Ariel, she did a great, great job. Her vocals were amazing in every song she sang. Her acting was believable. It was good. And even in the scenes where she couldn't use her voice, her way of acting or her way of communicating to Eric was also believable and amazing the way she went about it. And she truly is the princess, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of her movies in the future. And she deserves all the praise and all the awards and all the sequels, because hopefully they bring her back for The Little Mermaid 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. Because if there's another Little Mermaid movie, I'm going to be right there with my expensive popcorn in hand. Because I really enjoyed it. Melissa McCartney, amazing as Ursula. She did the character justice, and I'm super, super proud of the whole entire cast. Like, they all did well. Even Eric, you know, Eric and his chemistry with Ariel, that was also great, except that one song that he sung. But, you know, we're not going to discuss it anymore. But, you know, that was that. Anything else? I think that was it. You know, I'm just sad that it's over. That's it. But that's that. Let me know if you watched the movie. I highly recommend that you do go to the theaters and support. Let me know if you did watch the movie, what you thought about it in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah. A part of your world. Mwah.